Alright y'all, so today we here with a lineup tutorial. This is before, this is after. Let's get to it. So starting off, my client do got one of those hairlines. It's kind of like not prominent. Also, he got like a knot on the left side of his head. So you really gotta work when you're trying to make this symmetrical. Cause it can, like you really gotta, it's an illusion. You really gotta make it look symmetrical. Even though it's low key, not really gonna be symmetrical. You really just gotta work around the knot. But for my first step, I'm really working at just making the line as sharp as possible and as symmetrical as possible, and just making sure it's straight, because we are going to be using enhancements on this cut. So you really want it to be almost perfect before you want to get it as perfect as possible before you put the enhancements, because once you put the enhancements, everything is set in stone. So I really just go in middle to right, then I go to the left, and I really just work back and forth and try to make sure that the vertical bars are the same length on each side. Try to make sure the C-cups have the same shape, and just really work at it before I go on with this enhancement. Because once you put the enhancement, you're gonna lock everything in, and you don't want nobody to have no enhancement and it's looking unsymmetrical, slanted, or just not sharp enough, or just not the same shape on both sides. You just want to make sure you do everything completely symmetrical. That's the main thing, especially when you're doing the enhancements. You really want to make sure it's symmetrical. Because this isn't a full haircut tutorial, this is only a lineup tutorial. I did not record the fade, but I'm just letting y'all know now. He just has a low taper, like I guess in some places you call it a taper fade, where he gets it all knocked down all around, but he really only gets a fade on the temple area and in the back. It's not a fade that's connected all the way throughout. So that's why you see me lining up these C cups here, because the fade is just right there in the temple area. So right here is where you can really see what I was saying about the knot, or like the left side just being bigger than the right. You really got to work at it though, because from different angles it could look different. You want it to be where it's from pretty much all angles it looks the same. But right here we're adding in the enhancement. I'm using this enhancement called Flow from the Barber Engineer. I found him on Instagram. I mean, it worked well for me. Apply that real quick, and I brush it in to make it blend in with the fade, because you don't want it to be cut off. So when I first started using the enhancement, I used to kind of take it too far into my fade, and it's like you work so hard on the fade, you kind of kill the beauty of it if you put the enhancement on the fade. You want it to naturally transition so it can have a real good contrast between the fade and the enhancement. And it's going to be dark. You just don't want that fade to be dark. You want the fade to be bright, but you want it to transition well into the enhancement. As you can see right here, when I used to use enhancement, it used to kind of be like a line almost, and it's like I just kind of killed it. But you can most definitely spread out that enhancement if you take your brush and you brush where you feel like it's too heavy at. But you got to do it quickly before it's too late, because if it dries up, it's going to be harder. And I'm going in with the fibers, going over that just to give it a more realistic look, because I mean, I haven't found a wet enhancement that looks super natural yet. I mean, the one I'm currently using, it works pretty well on most clients, but sometimes it's still, I mean, it's spray enhancement, sometimes just not gonna look 100% authentic. It's not gonna have that real texture to it. So I make sure that I go in and go with just a super light layer of fibers over it. It also makes the lineup pop more once you go back over it. That's why I'm going back over with the liners once again. But it makes the lineup pop more, and this is how you could make your lineups like 10 times better. Now when it comes to making the lineups better, tools also do play a part. I feel like if you just get the most like basic Fabulous Gold FX, just the original all gold or all silver, I mean, those will do you right, you know. You don't need nothing too crazy, but some clippers are duller than others, and some you may have to adjust to zero gap hit, to where there's no gap between the blade and the actual that makes sense. But I mean, I've been using these clippers for almost like 2 years now, I believe, and they've been doing me just fine. I mean, I've been taking care of them. I haven't switched the blade yet, which is also crazy. I know some people say they switch their blade like every 2 weeks. I seen that on like Instagram not too long ago, which is kind of crazy, but who knows, man, you know. All right, so right here I'm about to come in with this Tune 45 pencil. It's nice, but you really got to know how to blend it because it's a little bit lighter than what I would use. I usually use the Black Ice brown color, which on a person like this with a darker complexion, it wouldn't be as, like, you wouldn't have to work as hard at blending it because it kind of already blends into the skin. I would say, honestly, I keep both types of pencils just in case I feel like one might not work. Process seemed kind of repetitive because I feel like after everything I do, I'm coming back in with the trimmer, but that's just because I just want the most like precise results. But for this step specifically, I'm going in with the trimmer and I'm trying to spread this line out because I don't want it to be a very thick line. I don't want it to be heavy and like pop a lot. I really just want it to contrast to the hairline. You just want the hairline to look crispy. You almost want the pencil to not even be seen. So what I do is I spread it out right here just to make it super precise. Then I'm gonna come back in later and I'm gonna do the next step to really blend it in to where it's just a thin line that pops out at you. But right now you can see it's already getting there, especially starting from where it's just at. As you can see, we turning out good though. This is the finished product, but we getting there. Most definitely, we just keep working at this hairline. Right here, I'm using a Q-tip. You can use a paper towel, napkin, neck strip, whatever you need to use, just to take off that excess, the excess from the pencil, because you're spreading it out so you can wipe off the extra. So, like I said, you could get that thin line that you can barely see. It just looks like the hairline is popping. Now, from my understanding of how we got to this point where we're using pencils, I remember when you see like older dudes, when they're putting a line up on people, they're getting like that ash line and stuff like that. This is pretty much like you're going for the same look. The reason I use a pencil instead of using lineup prep and drying out the skin and prepping the skin to, you know, get that natural ash line is because it actually looks ashy, and I don't want that. It just looks like, I don't like it. I don't like it, and we don't really wear it like that where I'm from. In Michigan, we don't wear that. So you kind of just, maybe on a beard, but for the hairline, no, we don't really do that. So, you know, you want something that doesn't make, like, I want something that doesn't make the client's hairline look like just dried out, just a crusty line, which is cool if you do that, not knocking you, but this is just how I do it. But like I said, we trying to get that line as thin as possible. So even after I go in with the Q-tip to wipe off the excess, anything that I spread it out, because using that Q-tip, you're going to spread some stuff out. Anything that I spread out with that Q-tip, I'm going to bring it back in and tight to the hairline. So now it has like that cloudy contrast to it. You can see it starts off super bright at the hairline, and as it goes down, it starts to blend into the skin. That's exactly what you want with this lineup. So it really pops out to you when you see it. You want that lineup to be strong. Somebody see it, like, that should be the first thing they see. Like, dang, his lineup is just, oh God. And you really want the pencil to not be there because you don't really want to see it. You just want the lineup to look that strong. And that's usually what you want to do when you're going with these enhancements. Nowadays, it's okay to make it look a little bit less real because that's just the style. But at the same time, sometimes you really just want it to look as real as possible without looking fake. You know what I mean? And we pretty much got them crispy. This is the finishing touch right here. My guy already on FaceTime calling. I ain't gonna say too much. He already on FaceTime though, so you know we got them crispy. But this is another important step. I sprayed in that hairspray because I did use fibers and I did try to lock it in, which I did. But when you use that hairspray, it leaves like a sticky residue, a layer of like the hairspray on his forehead. You don't want nobody walking around with a sticky forehead, man. So you want to get right. You see my guy, it's all smiles though once you get it crispy. But you really want to make sure you wipe off that extra alcohol. That's why you kind of see me just wipe off the extra hairspray with the alcohol. That's why you see me keep working at his forehead, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is the finished product. And if you like this video, make sure you share it, like it, drop a comment. Make sure you subscribe. I'm gonna come with some more videos. But that's perfect right there, left to right. Making that, working around, you know, the symmetry, making sure it's as symmetrical as possible. At first, it wasn't symmetrical. And like I said, he just had a taper in the back. It's not like it's faded all the way around. This is it right here. Make sure you hit that follow button.